There was a Deadline article that was talking about streaming and things like that, and was talking about where Disney Plus put out how many, what was like the most watched movie and TV show and stuff. The most watched movie was Moana again, which I thought was cute, since kids love that movie. But the most watched TV show on Disney Plus was Percy Jackson. Out of everything, it had 3 billion like minutes watched last year. The other biggest one was The Acolyte for Star Wars that had 2.7 billion, but it beat out every other Marvel show that's on there. The Acolyte is the only one that got close to it. That's a lot. And it is like it's a good thing, but also it's like a weird mix. Like I'm glad that a show like that is the number one show on Disney Plus going into Trump being president, but it just I keep thinking about this sort of stuff lately, especially. But it's just like this is such a weird time for them to be making this show. It's like a weird thing that they've talked about wanting to get rid of interracial marriage, and the main love story on the show is between an interracial couple. Not even just that, like other like Luke and Thalia, and whatever would happen with like Luke or like Allison or Luke or the other girl whose name we don't even know yet, um, or even like Grover one day with like the girlfriend he gets one day and things like that. Those are all like likely every couple on this show is going to be interracial somehow because nobody is the same race because it actually is a diverse cast. And so it's like there's that going on, and then there's the fact that Luke is literally every mass shooter ever. He is that person like to a T on purpose. Like that was like Rick's idea. Clearly, back then this was still a problem in a different way back then. But he is that person, and the way that he gets people to join his team is quite literally the exact way that Trump gained power was by being like, look at those bad people over there.
Mhm.
They're horrible and bad. Join me because I'm different from everybody, even though I'm part of like the establishment and incredibly embedded in it all, the same way that Luke is very much embedded in it all, where he knew the entire time he was a kid that he was a god or was a demigod. He knew who Hermes was, and most kids don't even know that stuff. But he still was able to present himself as like somehow different and radical and revolutionary and things like that in the way that Trump does when it's a lie for both of them. And so it's like it's very interesting to see like MAGA stuff and then also see this storyline happening at the same time. And so
Um, I don't know the numbers that Avatar: The Last Airbender did, but how come they got 2 seasons renewed and we still haven't found out whether or not we're getting Titan's Curse? That's what we really want is Titan's Curse. Are we getting it?
yeah, and I will say I don't know the whole Avatar is such a weird thing where the show got a lot of views at first because people were watching it to see how they felt about it, but then they didn't like it. And so they basically just kind of let them be like, okay, you can have the 2 seasons because the show is only 3 seasons.
Mhm.
And so they're like, okay, we'll let you have like your whole run instead of cutting it off after 1 season or 2 seasons, like Netflix does with every other show in existence, which is why I refuse to watch anything on Netflix because I know it's going to be canceled, and I don't want to watch something that I enjoy just for it to be canceled. It happens with like quite literally every single show they ever put out. Um, and so with this one, they were just like, well, it's only 3 seasons anyway, and we're going to get tons of money from people watching it, even if they don't like it, they're still going to watch it. And so they just like, we're like, okay, fine, you can do it, and just let it be like a train wreck, I guess. Because I don't know how it won't be, just from like the things that we know about the production stuff already. But I don't. I guess I want them to do it, obviously, because then we can all freak out about Titan's Curse, like everyone does anyway. But I also am like a thing of like it doesn't mean anything that it hasn't happened yet because that's just not how TV shows usually work.
Yeah.
And especially how they talked about season one, that they were working on it for many months before this the writer's strike, and then even after it, when they were doing like the promotional stuff for season one, they were working on season two. And so I know that likely already, like Rick is probably writing the outline for season three, which is like crazy to think about, but he probably is. And they're probably already talking about that stuff, a little bit after season two is fully done filming and everything. They'll probably start working on that sort of thing in some way again, even if they don't publicly announce anything. But I will say that when it comes to Disney stuff, February 5th is the next, what is it called? Shareholders call. And Disney always gives out news during their shareholders call. And since Percy Jackson and the Olympians is officially their most successful TV show last year, there's a good chance that they'll say something or announce something during that. And they have another one on their annual shareholders meeting is on March 20th. And so there'll probably be something else that they say or do or announce or release or something then too, because that's just how Disney does stuff. But either way, it's like mind-boggling to me to think about how these kids had 3 billion minutes watched of them. That's like almost scary.